Hey, welcome back to I Don't Mean to Be a Jerk, but our third episode, the leadership podcast where we grow on purpose, we laugh a little, and try really hard not to let our egos wreck everything we care about. I am your host, your leadership addict, Laylee, and I gotta say, this episode's got a little extra heart in it because today we're talking about something that might just save your leadership soul. Emotional intelligence, the antidote to hubristic behavior. Yup, I said it. If ego is what gets us in trouble, emotional intelligence is what gets us out of trouble. It's like the Waze app for your leadership, constantly you rerouting your path when your internal GPS is about to drive you off a cliff. A little dramatic for the Waves app, but we've seen worse, haven't we? I want to talk about what we covered last week, which is that ego is not evil, right? So ego is not going to be the villain. Let's start with this. It's not some shadowy monster that's lurking in your subconscious, waiting for you to ruin meetings and relationship. It's actually trying to help you. It just has zero chill. It's that part of you that wants to protect your reputation, your value, your place at the table, which is fine until it starts yelling over your integrity. You get that feedback email and suddenly you're like, what do you mean that I talk too much in meetings? What do you mean I didn't cover the material correctly? Or someone else gets credit and then your inner dialogue goes, I mean, sure, she said the idea, but I was the one that was thinking at first. That's your ego trying to be your hype man, but it's hyping you some of the times in the wrong direction. So when it's doing that, what is it that we need to do? Let's get nerdy, but in a fun way. Emotional intelligence, or as we call it EQ, is basically the most talked about piece of research, I don't know, the past decade or maybe 20 years. But it's basically your ability to recognize, to understand, and manage your own emotions. And not only that, you're also able to recognize, understand, and influence the emotions of others. There are four main parts. Real quick, I promise. You have the self-awareness, you have self-management, you have social awareness, and relationship management. Let's break those down. And what I want to do is bring the real life moments for you. Okay? So let's start with self-awareness. This is when you realize you're about to roll your eyes in a meeting. Your nonverbal cues, you're very aware of it, and you stop yourself. Or you do it anyway, but at least you know you did it, right? That's progress. That's you being aware that you rolled your eyes. Then we have the self-management. This is when you feel the urge to clap back in an email. You draft it, you sit on it, and you go, you know what? I'm going to delete 90% of this before I hit send. That's your self-management. Now, social awareness is picking up on the vibe shift in a room. So when someone in a meeting interrupts another person and it's super awkward, that's your social awareness. Then we have the relationship management. This is knowing how to call someone in instead of calling them out. So you course correct without killing the morale. See what I mean? This stuff really matters, right? It's subtle, it's powerful, but it really exists. And majority of the time when EQ comes through, this is actually one of my honest opinions when I heard about EQ long time ago, is I'm not a robot. I have feelings. I can't just suppress them, right? I get it. I feel the same way. I've been there. I felt the sting of criticism. I wanted to control everything because it felt safer. I've definitely taken things personally that weren't personal. Here's the difference that I want you to think about. Emotionally intelligent leaders do not avoid feelings. I'm going to say that again. Emotionally intelligent leaders don't avoid feelings. They just don't let those feelings drive the bus. Look, you can be real. You can be passionate. No one is telling you not to be your authentic self. And you know what? I'll even give you this. You can be mad. But when you choose how to respond instead of just reacting, that's where the magic is. Okay? Now let's talk about the thing we're trying to avoid. The whole reason why you're probably listening to this, and that is the hubristic aspect of it. Not just confidence, not even arrogance. Hubris is next level ego. It's that I know best. I don't need input. I am the all-knowing energy. It shows up in leaders who stop listening, who stop learning, and who are making decisions in an echo chamber. And here's the twist. Hubris doesn't just hurt the people around you. What it does is that it disconnects. And it disconnects you, from yourself. You stop checking in, you stop reflecting, and you become the kind of leader people don't give honest feedback to because they know how it's going to land. And I've been there where I've shared something with a leader, didn't really go anywhere. And so when things would come up, all I could think of is, what's the point of this? Going there and discussing it with this person. They're not going to hear me. They're not going to listen to me. So when a leader is hubristic, they are just untouchable. And not in the Beyonce way. It's in the my team avoids me way. Oof. Believe me, this is not the best place to be in, right? So I actually have a story for you. I once gave a team member what I thought was helpful coaching. Okay, this was early in my career when I was still learning what was the proper way to do this. And it turns out that I said it in a tone that made her feel small. Sometimes when you meet me, I have a very interesting poker face. So you immediately think I'm not very interested in getting to know you. And in the beginning of my career, it was not so good. So it made her feel small, the way I said it. And she told me this later with grace, and that it didn't sit right with her. And my first internal reaction, quite honestly, was like, oh my gosh, did she just call me out on something? This is odd. This is really odd for someone to feel like this has happened and then share it with me. Again, very early in my career, right? In that moment, I stopped because all I could think of after reflection, and I sat with it, I was realizing something. First of all, thank God she felt safe enough to share that with me, right? And then second, she wasn't wrong. My delivery was sharp, and it came from stress, not support. That was my ego trying to feel in control because I had a leader that was pushing certain things to me. And so by the time I sat with this person, I was stressed out as well. So I apologized. And the trust actually deepens because of it, right? When you hold yourself accountable and you share that with other people, it comes off genuine. That's the power of EQ. It's not perfection. It's presence, right? It's the presence that we have with others. And as always, what I want to do is get practical because theory is always wonderful. We can talk about it very philosophically, but if you don't have the tools to practice this, what's the point of this podcast, right? So here are 5 things you can start doing to flex your emotional intelligence. We have talked about a journal, right? And sometimes people hear this and they're like, okay, this is a lot of work, but it really works. And I would actually tell you, keep a log for a day. How about this? Just one day. After tough conversations that you have, jot down how you felt, what you wanted to do, and what you actually did. And really reflect at the end of the day, look at what you did, and start to see a trend in it. What triggered you? What happened? How did you stop yourself? And if you didn't stop yourself, why didn't you stop yourself? The second is ask for feedback and really listen. Look, I am all about welcoming feedback, but when I get it, I get I get a little emotional because it's kind of like a personal attack, even though it's not. What you can do is say, what's something I do that might land differently than I intended? When you're talking to your colleague or someone that you're leading, ask them that. What is it that I say that lands differently than what I think I've intended to do? The third one is actually really hard. It sounds pretty simple, and it's use the pause. So when you feel triggered, I want you to pause for 5 seconds before you speak. If you need to count backwards, go for it. Okay? Kind of like a NASA launch, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Use that pause. It helps. Fourth, name the emotion. I am frustrated because I feel out of control. I am frustrated because I feel out of control. That's so much better than I'm just mad. Okay? And then 5, reflect like it is your job. It's like you're getting paid for it. So after every leadership moment that you have, whether it's good or bad, just ask yourself this. What did I learn about myself just now? I love this question, and I know Mel Robbins has hit that when you go through obstacles in your life. This is such a great question because what you're doing is you're stepping back and you're taking the personal piece out of it and you're really putting in the, hey, what am I learning from this? And so it helps you come out of that situation and reflect in a place where it doesn't feel so personal. You want to stand out as a leader? Be the one who listens, who really owns their own mistakes. Someone who inspires trust by being real, not perfect. That perfection is what comes in our way, what blocks us. Because high EQ leaders aren't just more likable, they're more resilient. They are able to adapt and they don't crumble under pressure or inflate under praise. They're the leaders people talk about years later in job interviews even. They say something like, I was so lucky to work with someone like that. That could easily be you. All right, that's a wrap on our episode 3, Emotional Intelligence, the Antidote to Hubris, for our, I don't mean to be a jerk, but. And if this hits home, do me a favor, share it with a fellow leader who's working on their growth, rate and review the show, and tag me on Instagram or LinkedIn with your favorite takeaway from today's episode. I love hearing what is clicking for you. And remember, you're not here to be flawless. You're here to be aware, courageous, connected. And trust me, that's leadership that's going to last for a lifetime. This is Laylee with the Invivo Leadership Strategies, and I'll catch you the next time.